Asuka, the energetic and strong mother. Yamato, the younger brother who's always in his own little world. Follow us as we karate kick all your daily frustrations away. Asuka's Revenge.
I'm Kotomi. I got married 8 months ago. The other day, I got some extra income, so my husband Satoru and I decided to go on a nice vacation. Can't wait! We booked the semi-suite room. The room was gorgeous. We weren't gonna need it, but it even had a guest room. This room is so expensive, we'll probably never be able to stay at a place like this again.
True. Gotta make the best of it.
My husband made all the reservations for me. I was always busy with work, so that was kinda nice. I was pretty excited about our trip together, but I also had something else on my mind. I had to talk to my husband about something. Hopefully, we'll be able to reach an understanding. You see, the thing is, my husband was a big spender. We both worked, but I made twice as much as him. He's gotta be more careful with his spendings. Every month, he spent more than he made. I was worried about him. He was buying stuff for himself and his parents. He said he wanted to make them proud. We'll just talk about this like adults. I'm sure he'll understand. Then a few days later, we were getting ready to head out, but then the doorbell rang.
Sorry, we're late.
Let's get going, shall we?
It was my parents-in-law's. What are they doing here? Huh? I was so confused. Then my husband said,
We got a guest room, so might as well put it to use, right?
He said it with a smile. You never told me this. I was speechless. I didn't know what to say, but I couldn't just turn them away and tell them to go home, so I got in my car and they all got in. Why is his father sitting next to me? My husband and his mom sat in the back seat. He was really enjoying this. I couldn't believe it. It was so frustrating. Huh? Then my father-in-law lit a cigarette and started smoking. My husband knew I hated cigarettes, but he didn't even stop him. Sorry, but there's no smoking in here.
Oh, relax. We're on vacation. Just open a window.
Yeah, you worry too much, Kotomi.
I came this close to losing my mind, I didn't even know what to think anymore. Then, about 4 hours later, we arrived at our hotel. Screw this. I'm divorcing him. I was exhausted.
Come on, hurry up!
You tired already? What's wrong with you?
Seriously? That's it. I glared at my husband. He definitely knew that I was pissed, but he didn't care. He knew I wouldn't yell at him in front of his parents. Once we got home, I'm putting an end to all of this. This was a nightmare. My vacation was ruined. Then when we got to the room, my father-in-law fell asleep in the master bedroom. My mother-in-law was too busy chit-chatting with my husband. I couldn't take much more of this. I went into the guest room and laid down in bed. Why? It was getting dark out. My husband was nowhere to be found. I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't. I was just so frustrated. Then I started crying. I should have never came here. I should have just left him when I had the chance. I loved my husband, and I wanted to make things work. That's why I decided to use my extra income for this nice vacation, but what kind of person invites his parents without telling their partner? That night, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up all night long. Ugh, my skin is a mess. I got changed and walked into the living room. My mother-in-law was sleeping on the couch, and my husband, he was on the floor next to her. Such a mummy's boy. Gross. I stared at their ugly faces for a while. A few minutes later, they woke up. Then,
Hey, Mom wants to go to that flower park. You know, the one we were talking about. Can you drive us there?
This is so much fun. I feel so young again.
You're not old, Mom. You look really young. Right, Kotomi?
I didn't know what to say to him anymore. Yeah. I put on a fake smile and walked away. I didn't even care anymore. That's it. We're done.
I'm gonna go wash my face.
Then my mother-in-law got up and headed to the bathroom. Hey, you piece of shit. I don't need you anymore, I said to my husband with a big smile on my face.
Huh?
He froze up. He didn't know what to say. I meant what I said, though. I was done with him. I wanted him out of my life. He tried to say something, but his mom came back. I'm gonna go ask the clerk for directions. Then I grabbed my stuff and left the room. Screw this. Then I got in my car and headed home. About an hour later, I had a bunch of missed calls from my husband, but I ignored him. I stopped by a nearby convenience store to get some coffee. Then my phone rang again, so I finally picked up and said, "Hello? Who is it?" My husband sounded confused.
What the hell's going on? Stop messing around! Where are you?
Idiot. He still doesn't get it. What do you mean?
Huh? Where are you right now? We can't go anywhere without the car.
Not my problem. Well, gotta go. Enjoy your vacation. Just don't bother me anymore. If you want to talk to me, go through my lawyer from now on. Then I hung up the phone before he could say anything. I should have done this a long time ago. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I should have talked to him before going on vacation. Whatever. What's done is done, so I headed to my brother's house and told him I was getting divorced. I'm leaving him. I know it's only been 8 months, but I can't do this anymore. I need a lawyer. You work at a law office, so can you help me out?
Huh?
My brother Ryota seemed really surprised. I told him and his wife what happened. Aska, his wife, was furious.
Seriously? He invited his parents without even telling you?
Yeah, unbelievable, right? And it wasn't even his money. I paid for everything. I can't do this anymore. We booked the hotel for 2 nights, but that night my husband came home. Looks like he took the train. Then my mom called my brother.
Kotomi, Mom wants to talk to you.
Kotomi, Satoru just came to our house. He said he can't reach you. What's going on? You two get in a fight or something?
Yeah, I'm leaving him. Then Satoru's parents joined him.
Since we're all here, let's just talk about this. Come on in.
My father decided to let him in, so I headed back to my parents' house for a talk.
Kotomi, you just left us there. How dare you?
Yeah, you're so selfish. Yeah, apologize to them.
They started yelling at me the moment I walked into the room.
Huh? Is that true? You went on vacation with them and just left without telling anyone?
Oh. Yep. The thing is, I've been thinking about divorcing him for a while now. But I wanted to make it work somehow, so I thought this vacation would help, but he invited his parents without even telling me.
Wait, what? Divorce? You never told me that!
I took out my household account book and slammed it on the table. Bank transitions, credit card bills, pay slips, it was all there. I had serious concerns about the way you spent money. That's why I planned this vacation. I wanted us to talk and make it work somehow. I didn't want to give up. I wanted to make things work, but I couldn't finish my sentence. I started crying.
Wow, this is a lot of money, Satoru.
Yeah. You're spending more than you make here. How did you manage your money before you got married? Oh well.
All the money you withdrew from our mutual account. I know you were handing them to your parents.
What? No, that's not true.
What's this then? I took out some of the documents I found in Satoru's bag the other day. He was helping his parents with their car and house payment. He finally gave up and apologized.
I'm sorry.
I thought we could talk about this and make it work somehow, but instead you invited your parents without even telling me. It's over. Our parents had nothing to say after that. The meeting was over.
Kotomi, please, give me another chance.
Too late. Go through my lawyer. Then my brother introduced me to one of the best divorce lawyers in the city. Satoru spent most of our savings on stupid stuff, so there wasn't much left to fight over, but that idiot. I sued him for damages and asked him to pay me back every dime. Needless to say, the court ruled in my favor. But Satoru was flat out broke. He begged me to let him pay me in installments.
Kotomi, I'm sorry. I love you. Please, let's just start over.
Satoru kept begging me to take him back, but there was no chance in hell that I was gonna let him leech off of me again. I heard he had to sell his car to pay his bills. What an idiot.
Yeah, screw him. You deserve better.
Satoru's parents were broke too, so they couldn't help him either. He started working a second job to pay his bills after the divorce. He said he was barely getting any sleep, but oh well, not my problem. After that, I blocked him and decided to move on with my life.
My name is Kotomi. I live with my husband Yuta and my daughter Ayuri, who's a sophomore in high school. My in-laws' house lives about 10 minutes away by bicycle, but one day, the mother-in-law with a pretty bad spending habit.
I want to go overseas, so loan me some money.
Suddenly asked us for money. She was always someone who went overseas for work, but she's always been spending a lot of money, enjoying herself while she was overseas.
I was more free when my husband was working.
However, after my father-in-law retired and started staying at home, my mother-in-law started realizing that she was spending way too much money.
So yeah, he took all the cards from me, so I need a little allowance, you know? Just loan me a little bit.
I can't. I answered immediately, but my husband, Yuta,
she's already retired and starting to get old. Lend her some money.
tried to cover for his mom. However, we have to save money for our kids' education, and she's never paid us back for any money we've lent her. My husband looked unsatisfied, but I managed to convince him that time. The next month, when my daughter went to the bank to withdraw some money that she had worked so hard to save up, she realized something insane.
Mom, my money is missing!
I still remember the look on her face when she came home. What? What do you mean?
What?
The piece of paper that she showed me was from the bank, showing that she only had about $200 left in her account.
I only went to withdraw $100, but I'm missing $6,000!
Give me a second, dear. I could only think of a single person who would be capable of withdrawing her money like that. Where did you put Ivory's money? I questioned my husband as soon as he came home from work.
I gave it to Mom.
He didn't even hesitate. That's bullshit! Why would you give our own daughter's money to your mother? I started screaming out of anger.
It's your fault for not giving money to Mom! Irie's money is mostly coming from my pay anyway. I'm free to do as I like with it.
He actually started getting mad at me. He eventually even said,
The money you two spend to buy your clothing, the food you eat, it's all from my pay! You want to complain? Get the hell out of my house with nothing to your name! Leave our daughter too! She's my daughter that I raised with my money!
He must have calmed down after screaming at the top of his lungs.
Sorry, I got a little emotional.
He apologized to me, but it was way too late for that. I'm not going to let that go. Your money? I've been raising the child and taking care of the house all on my own. I've been working part-time jobs in my free time, and I've been putting in more shifts once Irie was able to go to school. I've been helping out around the house too. That day, we didn't say a thing to each other and went to bed. I called my parents' house the next day. Hey, this happened, so is it okay if we go live over there with you guys? I decided to live with my mom for a little while.
I want to go to Grandma's house already!
From the second that Irie told me about her money, she seemed to have already known who took the money and why.
It's because Dad wants to let his mom go on vacations all the time, right? He kept asking me for money.
I didn't know they was doing that. I'm sorry.
Dad only cares about his mom. I don't want to see him anymore.
She seemed to want to leave before I did, so things went smoothly. My husband actually has done something like this before and pulled out almost $12,000 from her savings without asking first. We got in such a huge fight then too. He's also taken the dishwasher that I got for my birthday to give to his mom as well. He basically just gives her whatever she wants, even if it means stealing from us. But I didn't expect him to actually stick his hand into his daughter's pockets. I was such an idiot for trying to deal with it. When I explained to his father that he had used up 12K of our savings,
I'll keep a close eye on him and I'll chew them both out to understand what they've done. Please give him a chance.
he was on his knees begging, so I thought that if he was going to beg that much, then maybe it's worth another shot. But I was wrong. I called my father-in-law about what had happened and told him everything. So yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to ask for a divorce.
I see. I'm so sorry about everything.
I'll be leaving a letter here explaining everything and leaving. My father-in-law understood everything I was doing, and I wrote a final note to my husband. I'm going to take half of our shared wealth. It's not all your money, after all. I'm also going to be expecting child support for the rest of her education, in full up front. In other words, I'm taking all the savings. I'm the one that gave birth to my daughter, and she wants to go with me as well, so she's coming with me. I'm never going to let him take her. I'm sure my mother-in-law will just milk her for money if I leave her here. You're free to spend the money that you don't spend on us for your mother. Your father was also tired of you and your mother, so he said that he's going to cut ties with both of you. So you guys share your wealth amongst yourselves. I put the letter on the table and left the house. A few days later, I wasn't expecting that. Surprisingly, he didn't say anything at all, not even about the money, and immediately sent me a divorce papers with his side already signed. My husband's sister, Naoko-san, told me about this later. My dad talked to Yuta. He said that in return for not divorcing Mom, Yuta had to divorce you with no complaints. Really? Yeah, I was called up to go back home for a meeting too. It was a whole family thing. Talk about awkward. Apparently, my father-in-law had quite a bit of wealth he inherited from his father, so his wife didn't want to divorce him.
I don't want a divorce.
I can't live with some leech like you. Get out. You even mess with our own son and his family.
But Yuta covered for her.
If you're gonna make her cry, then I'm gonna cause problems with your daughter.
So Naoko-san was at loss for words after that. That's where the deal from earlier came into play, and they agreed that he would not touch my daughter or I. He's still insane. I don't think he was that protective of Mom before, but I don't know when he developed this weird complex. She had been at a loss. I hired a lawyer and made sure everything was in order for the divorce. Half a year later, I still occasionally see my father-in-law with my daughter.
Ayumi!
Grandpa, how have you been?
I've been doing great! Wanna go grab something good to eat?
We occasionally go out together, but I make sure that she never sees her grandmother or my ex-husband.
I don't want to see Dad or Grandma under any circumstances.
My now ex-father-in-law was still married to his wife, but they live separately.
My blood pressure would be through the roof if I still lived with her. I don't care what they do. They can live together all they want.
So my ex-husband and his mother live together. Apparently, she's been living a great life with the money that she gets sent from her husband and my ex-husband. But Yuta is starting to get troubled by this.
Mom! We haven't even paid rent this month, and you've already spent that much money?
I'm sure you'll work hard for me, right? Your father is so stingy. He only sends like $1,500 a month for me.
I'm pretty sure you'd be fine not worrying about rent or utilities and having $1,500 a month to spare. But it was never enough for her.
Please stop!
He ran out of all of his savings from my divorce, and he's just being milked for his money by his own mother, so he's got no time to enjoy on his own. Sometimes he calls his father for help.
That's what you wanted, isn't it?
My father-in-law ignores him. Yuta's messaging me again. He's so persistent.
Please come home!
It's too late for that. Anyway, it's time for your birthday cake. I'm gonna make a really nice cake, so I hope you're excited.
I want you to add a lot of pieces to my cake.
Normally, my ex-husband should have a right to see my daughter since he's paying child support. But because my daughter claimed that she is under mental duress when with her father, our lawyer argued for her to be able to stay away from her father. The courts agreed. Irie, this is a present from Mom.
Wow, is it a tablet? Are you sure I can have this?
You enjoy living your life with your mother, who you thought was more important than your own wife and kid.
I'm Aska. I met Ryota in college. We got married a few years after graduation. Love you.
Love you too!
Ryota had an older brother named Ryohei. He was 3 years older than him, but he wasn't married yet. He had a fiancée named Miyuki. They were getting married this year.
My brother's getting married! Finally!
I wonder what his wife is like. Can't wait to meet her. I've never met Miyuki before, but Ryota and his brother knew her well. They all grew up together. You're all childhood friends? Aw, that's so cute! I thought it was kind of cute.
I don't know about that.
Ryota didn't agree with me. Wait, did you used to like her or something?
What? No way!
It didn't sound like he was lying. Ryohei and Ryota were nothing alike. Ryohei didn't talk much. He was always working. He usually kept to himself. I hear he's really good at his job. Miyuki, his childhood friend, was the same age as him. She used to come over to their house and play with Ryohei and Ryota all the time. When they were little, Miyuki actually spent more time with Ryota. She was the type of kid who liked to run around and roll around in the mud, so... I was like that too when I was a kid.
Yeah, I bet.
But after Ryota left the city for high school, they kind of drifted apart. She wrote to him a couple of times, but he never replied. Ryohei kept in touch with her, though. Then, many years later, he proposed to her, and she said yes. That's so cute! I can't wait for the wedding. I was really excited for the wedding. But Ryota, he didn't seem that excited.
I mean, she's my childhood friend, but I haven't seen her in years, so...
Then a few weeks later, on the day of the wedding, we're here! Ryota's parents lived far away, so we got in the night before and spent the night there. We all headed to the wedding together the next morning. It was my first time seeing Miyuki. But then, when she saw Ryota, she started crying. You okay? I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't say anything. Maybe she's just really happy to see him?
Is she having prenuptial doubts?
We decided to give her some space. But then, during the wedding ceremony, something unexpected happened. Wow, look at this place.
This place must have cost a fortune!
They had their wedding at a chapel. Then, when the pastor said,
If anyone objects to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace.
He paused for a few seconds, seeing if anyone had anything to say. Then, just as he was about to continue, someone spoke up. It was Miyuki.
Wait!
Then, she threw out her bouquet of flowers and ran towards Ryota.
Tell them to stop, please!
Then she grabbed his hands and started running.
What? Huh?
But Ryota just sat there, looking confused. Then, as she pulled his arm, he fell to the ground. Ryota! You okay? I ran towards Ryota. His family and relatives gathered around him.
What the hell happened?
What's going on?
Then, Miyuki grabbed Ryota by his arm and said,
I'm not marrying Ryohei. I want to marry him. I'm much prettier than her. I mean, look at her. She looks like a chicken.
She said as she looked over at me. Huh? A chicken?
What the hell is going on?
They had no choice but to call off the wedding. They submitted their marriage papers a few days prior to the wedding, so technically, Ryohei and Miyuki were married already, which meant they had to file for a divorce. But for some reason, Miyuki didn't want that.
I'm not signing anything.
She's not making any sense. And when asked why she didn't want to get a divorce, she said,
Because if I get a divorce, I won't be related to Ryota anymore.
Weird, right? I know! Miyuki's parents had a long talk with her after that. A few days later, she finally agreed to the divorce. Ryota paid for most of the wedding, so Miyuki's parents agreed to pay him back. Ryota was a lazy person. Whenever he had to write Christmas cards and stuff, he only wrote a few words.
I just don't know what to write.
Back then, some people still didn't have cell phones, so when we wanted to talk to someone, we either called or wrote to them. And when Ryota was living on his own, Miyuki sent him a letter almost every week. He replied to the first one, but he got lazy and stopped writing back after the second one. She kept writing to him even after he started college. That's kinda creepy. Ryota was scared at first, but eventually he got used to it. For years, he just ignored her. After he moved, he thought the letters would stop. But Miyuki found out where he lived from Ryohei and kept writing to him. Ryohei knew that Miyuki had feelings for Ryota, but he also knew that Ryota wasn't interested in her at all.
Someday I'll get her.
So he kept at it. Then, right after Ryota married me, she finally said yes and agreed to marry him.
Yes! Finally!
He thought she finally let him in. But I guess he was wrong. She was after you the whole time. Everyone thought Miyuki was over Ryota, but when she saw me at the wedding,
I'm way prettier than she is. He deserves better.
she said I looked like a chicken.
What does he see in her?
So she tried to steal him from me. Miyuki was pretty. She was voted the prettiest girl in school when she was a kid. It was no surprise that Ryohei was obsessed with her. But why would she?
Huh? What was that?
Oh, nothing. After the incident, things got a bit awkward between Ryohei and Ryota. But a few years later, Ryohei met someone else and got married. He even has 3 kids now. Things between him and Ryota went back to normal. Thank goodness.
Glad everything worked out.
As for Miyuki, she moved out of town. Nobody knew where she was or what she was up to these days.
Our moms used to be good friends, so if Mom was still around, maybe we'd be able to find out, but I don't know.
Then I asked him, "Hey, why didn't you write back to her?" To which Ryota said,
Well, I never saw her like that. She was like a guy friend to me. I talked to her whenever I came home to visit, so I didn't really think about it.
Makes sense, I guess. By the way, Ryohei was much better looking than Ryota. He was much taller than him, too. So why was she so obsessed with Ryota? I guess I'll never know. Oh well.
My name is Kotomi. I recently married my husband, Tadashi. We worked in the same office and dated for 2 years before getting married, but recently, I found out something shocking. He's totally got a mummy complex. Every time I saw my mother-in-law,
You're a failure of a woman. A failure of a wife, and you present yourself like some kind of whore.
she would just keep bullying me. I didn't know why. I thought I was doing everything pretty perfectly. My husband, Tadashi, grew up in a single-mother household, so he's always taken care of his mom. Even before we got married, I thought it was a good thing, and I married him knowing about this.
Can I invite my mom?
Yeah, sure. You're seriously so kind to her. Mother and son. I'm sure they live their life supporting each other, so it made sense. Tadashi was a little indecisive, but kind, and he was kind to me, so I didn't really care. However, when we were out eating with the 3 of us last week,
Takun was my only Takun.
she just suddenly started sighing and whining. Honestly, I was a little taken aback by the nickname, but I ignored it. Then my husband...
I mean, I'm married now, Mom. I'm sorry for leaving you all alone because of Kotomi-chan.
What?
Hey, Kotomi-chan, you need to formally apologize to her. I'm sorry for taking your son from you.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. He's not being serious, right? So I figured, since he was just making fun of the situation, I said, You should be a little sad that your beloved son has grown up well. I'm sorry for making you sad, but apparently he didn't like how I apologized to her. He was now angry.
That doesn't feel genuine at all. You ripped us apart. You do nothing for me even though you tore us apart.
What? I can cook and clean and do the laundry for you.
I heard that you just leave him alone.
What? Leave him alone? We both work and I do all the chores, so I really don't know what the hell they're talking about.
You're the one supposed to do the chores. You're also skipping out on your morning and nightly obligations.
Yeah, I told you how to do it on the first day, but you haven't done it once.
Huh?
The first day that we started living together, he asked for...
I want you to wake me up gently. When it's cold, bring me something to wear.
Okay.
I want you to put some water in a cup and put my toothbrush out with toothpaste. When I wash my face, I want you to bring me my towel so I can wipe my face quickly.
Can you do some of that yourself? I'm busy in the morning, so I don't have the time. When he got home from work...
When I said I'm going to get in the bath, I want you to bring me a bath towel and wait in front of the bath for me.
What's the point?
What do you mean? You're not gonna dry me off? My mom did it even when she had work.
It sounded so ridiculous, so I thought he was just fooling around. But he didn't say anything after that, so I just assumed he was joking. Apparently, he was complaining to his mom the whole time.
I cannot believe that you leave him out to dry like that.
We worked in the same office, albeit different departments, and made about the same amount of money. We both work together and I'm doing all of the chores, but it's not enough. I argued back, to which she said,
If you can't take care of Takun, give him back to me. Why can't you make him happy?
I heard this and started realizing a little too late the twisted relationship they had. I looked over at Tadashi, hoping he would come to a realization, but...
If you can't take care of me, there's no point in us being married.
He said, then let's get a divorce? And that's how we agreed to get a divorce. Afterwards, normally we'd talk about difference in opinion and values and ask for damages, but for some reason, the mother-in-law...
You couldn't take care of Takun correctly, so you owe him money.
She was claiming I had to pay. Okay, then write it all out for me. If you write out the specifics in detail, I will pay. If not, I will not pay anything. If you want to argue, then I'll talk to a bunch of people if they think I should be paying in this situation, I told her.
You have no common sense or remorse.
But my ex-husband...
Don't tell anyone.
He paid me damages. I took the money and promised not to tell anyone, but that means he knew what he was saying is a little insane. I mean, there's a good chance I could talk to coworkers. Even after divorcing at the office.
You may not be a great wife, but you're a great girlfriend.
He would invite me out on dates.
You just weren't suited to be a wife, you know? We should just be friends with benefits.
He was insane. To make things worse...
Some people are good at things while others are not. I think things will work out well if you and my mom split your duties. I think this was a great learning experience.
I was done with listening to this. What? I don't want a man who needs 2 women to take care of him.
Why? You don't want to take care of me?
What the hell makes you think you're worth that much? I dropped the mic on him. Afterwards, he started texting me.
You failure of a woman! You bitch!
Lovely. I was so in the right to divorce him. However, a few weeks after the divorce, people started rumoring why we got a divorce to begin with. I mean, we were only married for 2 months. My guess is that he didn't want people to figure out the real reason behind the divorce, so he started saying things in his department.
She wouldn't do any chores, and my mom got in a fight with her.
One of my good coworkers told me about it.
He's saying you didn't do any chores and so you got a divorce, but I know you can cook.
She was quick to inform me of this little plan. He's seriously saying that?
Yeah, he said that you were lousy and his mom would always chew you out, but you wouldn't listen. All the other male employees believe him and think you're a trashy woman.
I was furious. I got home and was stewing, so I was thinking about telling the truth at my office, but I don't want to be like that. It's a private thing. The next day, I went to the office and everything was completely different. My ex-husband worked with his ex-girlfriend, whom he had dated before we got married. that person.
Kotomi-san is smart and can really work hard, so I thought she might be able to get him in line, but I guess not. I should have told her about him before she got married.
She started denying any of the claims for me, so a lot of the employees heard the truth, apparently.
Tadashi-san said some crap about his toothbrush and toothpaste when I went over to his house once. He said that he wanted me to wipe his body after he got out of the bath.
Wait, what the hell? Do it yourself.
I laughed about it, and you know what he said? Mommy always does it for me. I dumped him on the spot.
What the hell? He's got a mommy complex.
I thought it was great that she got married, but I don't blame her for getting a divorce.
Thank you so much, Tanaka-san. I'm gonna take you out to lunch sometime. I didn't say anything to people who actually respected me. On the other hand, my ex-husband who was walking around slandering me looked horrible. Silence is golden. My ex-husband couldn't stand being in that office anymore, so within 3 months, he had quit. Tanaka-san, wanna go grab drinks tonight? I'll buy.
Huh? Why?
Oh, you know, I didn't want to say anything, but you told everyone the truth, so it kind of really helped me out. Afterwards, we started getting closer, and we still go out for drinks on the weekend.
Wanna go to a matchmaking party sometime?
Totally. Think it's okay that I've been married once?
I think a girl like you would be just fine. My name is Yayoi. I have a son and a daughter. My daughter Asuka still lives with me, but my son Fubuki has gotten married and I'm now a mother-in-law. I'm a little worried about him though. He's never been a good judge of women. My son Fubuki was always a pretty good kid, and he had already bought a house and finished paying off his loans when he was single. He started living there 3 months ago after he got married, but I don't know if I'm just immature, but I can't hold it back. His wife's name was Ayumi-san, and she always ate all the food without any consideration for others. She was just not one to really care about anyone around her. Fubuki worked at a pretty decent company, but because of his position at a fairly elite company, he was often working late.
Hello?
Ayumi-san would often come over while Fubuki wasn't home and eat dinner before saying things like,
Your food is so good! I love it! It's great!
so it was nice. And at first, I didn't mind cooking for her. It's a little lonely at my house, so I don't mind that she comes over. Or so I thought, but then...
Wait, you ate all the meat?
That's my favorite food!
Oh wow, she really only ate the meat. Even when cooking a large dish, she would often eat all of the meat first.
Ah, it's so good!
She never shared it all. We would often only have veggies left, and so my husband Aska, my daughter, and I would just end up eating the vegetables with no meat. Eventually, I tried to portion off people's meals to make sure she couldn't eat all of it.
Ah, it was so good, but it's just not enough.
Huh? She would often complain, so she would take the leftovers from my husband, Aska, and I. It really didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Do you want mine too?
Are you sure?
She didn't even bother hesitating, but that wasn't enough for her. She would start taking things around the house as well.
Oh, you bought a lot of toilet paper, didn't you? Can I have one?
What?
It's only a few rolls, thanks. Oh, and I'm about to run out of detergent too, so thank you. I'll bring my own containers to refill.
Recently, Asuka's been complaining about Ayumi-san after she leaves, taking notes.
Let's see. 2 toilet paper rolls, detergent, and she also ate like half of your meal.
Asuka, she also took my medicine! Write that down too!
She would make a list of things that Ayumi-san took, and you could tell that both my husband and Asuka were starting to feel stressed out by her actions.
It's tough to say anything because she's Fubuki's wife.
Fubuki should be making good money too!
They're newlyweds, so maybe they just don't have a lot of funds at the moment.
She eats dinner at our house almost every night, and you send her home with enough food for Fubuki, so they have to have some extra money.
The other day, while my husband and Asuka were off at work, Ayumi-san came over to my house, so I decided to ask her about it. This might lead to some problems, so I should just clear the air. Ayumi-san, I appreciate you coming over and spending so much time with us, but I think you're coming over a little too frequently, and you should go buy your own expendables.
I just don't have time to go buy my own stuff.
But you're a stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
She replied with some stress in her voice. I didn't want her to think I was bullying her or something and cause problems between her and Fubuki, so I wasn't able to say much more. Whatever the case, can you cut back the amount of times that you come over to eat? I figured there was no way that she would come over that night, but...
Hello.
You're kidding! Did she not hear anything I said? She came over like nothing ever happened, once again to eat dinner.
I love this food. This is my favorite.
She started eating all the meat once again without any consideration for others.
Can you stop taking all the meat?
Asuka finally lost her patience.
What's going on?
I got this meat from a friend as a thank you.
But it tastes better if you eat with everyone.
Yeah, as in share. But you always eat all the meat alone. Ugh, I'm done with this. I'm going to tell Fubuki.
Once Fubuki got home past 9 p.m., we were all holding a family meeting.
What's going on? It's so late.
He looked completely dumbfounded before walking up to us.
Well, you're probably not home often because you work late. But your wife comes home almost 4 times a week to eat dinner. And we're not sure if that's such a good thing.
Huh? Ayumi? She's coming over that often?
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know at all. Is this true, Ayumi?
Yeah.
Apparently, she didn't even tell her own husband that she was coming over to eat. However, I started realizing something was up.
Wait, how do you not know? Ayumi-san should be taking home food for you on the days that she comes over to eat.
What? I've never had any food from Mom.
Apparently, even that food wasn't off limits to her. It was so good that she just couldn't hold back. She looked like she was just a little guilty, but it seemed to not understand the gravity of the situation. I was honestly a little terrified. Even the meal I sent you home with yesterday?
Your food is just too good.
I made extra just for Fubuki.
Hey, that's going too far, Ayumi.
But I really only take a little bit.
My daughter and husband, both surprised by what she had just said, at the same time exclaimed, "Huh? You literally eat all of the meat that was cooked for everyone? A little bit?" They said, completely in the right. I felt a little bad for my son not being aware of anything, but...
Can you guys explain a little more in detail?
What do you even do for dinner?
Yeah, I'm a little curious about that too. Apparently Ayoi had quite a bit of stress and he has never eaten any cooking from Ayumi-san.
Every time I come home from working late, there's no food or anything. So I've just been eating instant meals or buying things on my way home.
I was starting to get upset that all the food that I've been giving her to give to my son wasn't reaching him and also worried about his health. Why don't you make him anything?
You're literally a stay-at-home wife. Why don't you cook him anything? That's a little much.
It's annoying having to make a meal for just one person.
So then how about you make it for 2 and eat at home?
I would love to eat your homemade cooking too.
You eat that much at our house and then you eat his food too? I'm just gonna put it all out there since we're on the subject, but you're always taking expendables around the house too, like detergent and toilet paper.
Why? I didn't know anything about this.
My son looked pretty upset, questioning Ayumi-san.
Oh, come on. It's not worth reporting back to you about. It's not like I'm taking a lot.
You realize that it all adds up, right?
Just so we're clear, it's not just a little either. Look at this.
Asuka showed the list that she had been writing up every time she took something.
What the? She's taking so much.
Fubuki looked furious and lost.
I've been giving you all of my salary after we got married, and I've only taken like $500 per month for myself. You definitely have the money.
The second he started talking about money, Ayumi-san just fell silent and my son said something I still cannot believe.
I can't believe you were doing exactly what your mom was doing.
Huh?
According to Fubuki, Ayumi-san's mother would often come over to their house.
I'm gonna take a little soy sauce, okay?
And she would fill almost 200 milliliters of an empty container with soy sauce before going home.
Oh, give me a little bit of horseradish if you don't mind.
She would then take the whole thing.
Oh, and I'll take 2 eggs.
She literally just took everything around the house.
I mean, they're not expensive or anything, but she just takes everything. You're doing that crap too? I was honestly getting tired of your mom's behavior.
What's wrong with taking a little bit from people who already have some? What's wrong with all of you? You're just bullying the married and wife?
No, of course not.
I gotta ask you, are you actually saving the money that I've been making?
Of course. I've been spending a lot on utilities and whatnot, so there's not much left, but...
That's sketchy. I've been giving you $4,000 a month. You wouldn't even need half of that for utilities and cost of living. We don't even have a mortgage. I'm gonna go home and check my account real quick. Dad, Mom, Asuka, sorry about all the trouble. It's Saturday tomorrow, so I'll come by during the day to talk again.
They went back home and we were completely exhausted by this interaction. I always send her home with food.
She didn't even make him any food.
I'm confused what she even does during the day.
The next Saturday, Fubuki and Ayumi-san showed back up.
I'm gonna have her parents come over in an hour or so.
Huh? I haven't made any preparations though.
Just to be blunt, we have no savings at all.
Huh?
All the money in the accounts that I made before we got married were fine, but all the money that we had as a joint account only had $40 total.
So she used up your savings?
But it's just you two. I'm sure it's probably only like $200 a month for utilities, right? Even if you consider cost of living and food.
Ayumi-san didn't say anything before her parents showed up.
What's the problem? They're kids. You should be able to provide them with food if they're asking. That's totally normal.
I see, that's why she's the way she is.
There are limits to things. It's one thing if she comes over a few times a month, but she literally comes over almost every day. That's just a bother and nothing else.
Look at this. This is a list that my sister wrote down.
He showed Ayumi's father a list of all the stuff and the lack of funds in their joint savings account.
You! What the hell have you done?
Ayumi's father was shocked at all this, but her mother...
Ugh, are you just nagging at her because she's your brother's wife? Oh, how disgusting. I feel so bad for her.
Shut up! What would you do if he did the same thing to you? Shameful!
Ayumi's father said what none of us had the balls to say. I'm glad that her father's a relatively normal person. Ayumi-san never spoke up, but her father was questioning her about the whereabouts of the money.
I went out to watch movies with Mom and go out to restaurants.
Apparently, Ayumi-san and Ayumi-san's mother thought that Fubuki was an ATM. So you've been hanging out, dilly-dallying, while you didn't cook at all for my son. I'm actually stunned.
I'm going to go ahead and put this out there, but it's not just cooking. She's never cleaned or done the laundry either. I've just been doing it all on the weekend. I figure we're still newlywed and she's not good at chores, but I'm done with this. I think it's easier for me to live alone.
What? Why? It's our money, so I should be able to use it as I like.
Yeah, you're being too mean.
You two need to shut the hell up. Stop embarrassing me even more. I'm sorry. I'll pay you back everything. I won't even be mad if you decide to divorce her.
Thank you.
Hey, what are you saying? Don't be butting into your own child's household matters.
The second Ayumi-san's mother said that, Ayumi's father turned to her with a look that would make the devil himself tremble in fear.
Shut up! You're doing the same thing! It's the same thing that you did when we got married! You have no idea how many times I've considered divorcing you! I just couldn't because I had kids!
Huh?
Apparently, Ayumi-san's mother had been doing the same thing to her father's parents.
They also suggested I get a divorce, and I really didn't think about it. But I didn't expect my own daughter to do the same thing.
Thanks to Ayumi-san's father, everything went smoothly. It was such a short marriage, but because Ayumi-san had used up so much of their savings, there was almost no shared wealth.
I'll reimburse you for everything that my daughter used in the last 3 months. I'll pay for damages as well.
2 weeks later, they were successfully divorced.
Apparently, Ayumi's father and mother got a divorce too, and Ayumi is living with her mother now. They both got arrested though, and her father got a phone call.
Huh? Why were they arrested?
They were taking toilet paper from malls and soap from the stockrooms and public bathrooms. They got caught and arrested. They were apparently regular thieves.
I can only imagine what kind of struggles that the father was put through.
And back at our house...
It's been so long since I've been able to just sit down and eat dinner.
Yeah, we haven't been able to eat a single slice of meat at all.
You guys, eat up.
Ah, that meat looks really good!
Peace and quiet returned to our household.
My name is Yamato. I'm a 21-year-old junior in college. I have a girlfriend named Nami, and I've been dating her for about half a year now. She's a little tough and selfish sometimes, but
No! It needs to be this movie. It's this one or we're not going.
I don't mind which one we watch. We can just watch what you want. I wasn't really someone who had an opinion, so we got along well. It all started when I went over to her house. She had made curry for dinner.
Here you go.
Thank you. The second I took a bite, I could tell it was way too spicy for me. This is like a level 6 out of 10. This is really spicy. I normally would rate myself at a 1, so her curry was pretty damn spicy. I took 3 bites before I couldn't stop hiccuping. That's how spicy it was. I don't know if I can finish this. So I stopped eating for a second when...
What's wrong?
She was upset, but she was scarfing up the really spicy curry like it was nothing. It's a little too spicy for me.
Curry is meant to be spicy. It's fine. Eat it.
I couldn't tell her no, but I couldn't eat it either. I can't just not eat. I tried to figure out what to do, so I looked over at the soy sauce. Maybe it'll make it a little less spicy. I put the soy in the curry and it was so much easier to eat. Now I think I can eat the whole thing.
What the hell are you doing?
When you put soy sauce in the curry, it helps smooth out the flavor. The second I replied to her,
You little shithead!
she yelled and grabbed my collar before throwing me off my chair. Wait, it's too spicy, you know? The soy helps.
Shut up!
It's better than leaving it, right?
Shut the hell up!
What? I didn't know what was going on, but she threw me out and locked the door. Nami, what the hell is going on? Did I say something insane? She wouldn't respond to me. I could just hear lots of things being broken from the other side of the door. Is she flipping the table? I realized that there was no way I was going to be able to hold a conversation with her, so I texted her. I want to talk to you once you calm down. I'll be waiting. I left her a message and I went back home, not really understanding what had just happened.
Yamato, welcome home.
Hey, Mom. The second I got home, Nami called me. What's going on? Can you explain what's going on?
I didn't realize how horrible you were. I don't want to breathe the same air as you. Don't ever talk to me again.
Then she hung up on me. What the hell? I tried to call her and sent her some messages, but let's calm down and talk about it.
If you message or call me after reading this message, I'm going to call the police and report you as a stalker.
That was my final text from her. Is soy in the curry that bad? Did I really do something that rude? I went to sleep. The next morning, I headed to college, but the story escalates from there. I didn't see her once today. Once class finished up, I headed to my club.
There's Yamato.
Apparently, she had talked about what happened to some people in the club, so some of her friends were furious.
You insulted her. How dare you?
They started coming at me. I didn't insult her at all. They were so furious that the other members jumped in to try and calm things down.
What's going on?
He asked me, so I explained everything that had led up to this point. The people who were against the soy in the curry.
You're the worst! How could you do that to food that your girlfriend made for you?
Were upset with me, and the people who were okay with soy and curry.
What's wrong with it? Who cares?
Protected me. The club was polarized. There were two groups between unacceptable and acceptable. It started turning into an all-out debate. By the way, 6 claimed it was unacceptable, while 4 claimed it was perfectly fine. The unacceptable group said,
The cooking is her taste. You cannot change the flavor. That's horrible. Besides, who the hell put soy sauce in curry?
Men should just shut up and eat what their girlfriends put on the plate. That's just common sense.
A girlfriend cooked for you and you're gonna try to tamper with it? What a moron! Ketchup and curry! Soy is insane!
The people who were on my side,
You're not a professional chef. Why are you being so intense about it? Are you gonna be mad if I put some salt on a rice bowl?
Honestly, some people aren't good with some flavors too.
It's literally just soy sauce.
It was spicy. Who cares? Japanese-style curry has soy!
so we were at a deadlock. Neither of us were budging, so things were just awkward. Eventually, we were just yelling at each other. However, I still didn't understand what it was. I wasn't sure if she was upset that I tried to add something to her dish, or that I thought adding soy to curry was okay. Guys, listen. I don't know what we're arguing about anymore.
Don't worry, we've got your back.
No, we've already broken up. They continued to argue and the group was split into two. The latter said,
Yamato, don't worry. You just do business as usual.
but then the sub-lead said,
I don't want you in this club! Get the hell out, you freak!
so now it wasn't just among the regular club members.
Stop arguing about some dumb shit! Dumb shit? I don't want to be part of this club anymore!
The unacceptable group left, taking almost half the members with them. What is happening? The unacceptable group started their own club, which was essentially the same club, but with people who didn't appreciate soy and curry. It's just soy sauce and curry, and they're not able to continue functioning. I don't understand. After that, I started feeling bad about putting stuff on food.
Yamato, you don't put anything on your food recently. You used to like adding stuff to food.
Oh, yeah. I started feeling hesitant to put anything on my meals completely.
You always used to put salt in your food. Did something happen?
No. Nothing. My siblings were also confused. It didn't stop at the clubs in college either. Some of my classmates agreed with Nami, while the others agreed with me. Once again, splitting into two groups.
Apparently she was arguing with a classmate and she felt she was losing, so she got in a fight at the cafeteria.
What?
But what if your child has allergies? You're going to be pissed and hysterical if your child doesn't eat what you cooked.
No, I wouldn't do that.
But you're okay with someone who's not good with spicy stuff having to suck it up and eat it. That's the same thing. There are some people who get sick from eating spicy foods, you know.
Yamato isn't that weak.
Yeah, so you're going to force your child to eat your food because your child isn't that weak, right?
Shut up! That's decided on a case-by-case basis.
She freaked out after not being able to argue back and injured a classmate. A few months after the whole incident, Nami dropped out of college. To this day, I haven't talked to her, so I still don't know what she was mad about. Was it the fact that I chose the soy? Was it that I added something to her dish? I'll never know.
My name is Ryota. I have a scar between my eyebrows. This was when I was still a student, but... it's almost time for the Setsubun. That day, we were going to have a Setsubun event, and I was going to attend. I was asked to be the Oni for the festival.
We were looking for someone who can run around with no problems.
Oh, sure, I'll play the part. Just as planned, I wore a full-body suit and a bath towel to look like the Oni. I bought a few extras from the local dollar store to play my role perfectly.
Ha ha ha! I am an evil spirit! Are there any bad kids around?
Ah!
Wait, is this how I'm supposed to play the Oni?
Oh my gosh, it's the Oni! Be gone, Oni!
They were throwing dried beans at me, as is tradition for the festival, but eventually, I felt a sudden sharp pain on my forehead. I looked down and noticed a ping-pong ball-sized rock next to my foot. The one that threw the rock at me was a boy in the 4th grade named Kenta.
Be gone!
He kept cackling like the devil himself. Talk about ironic. He continued to throw a few rocks at me before
Stop! Don't do that! That's dangerous!
one of the guardians that were making sure the whole event took place safely stopped him when she noticed that I was wobbling, my hand on my head. It was already too late. I'd already been bleeding. But getting mad now would only make the other kids scared.
Ah, you got me!
I quickly left the area and went straight to the hospital. We're gonna have to stitch that up. As a result, I got 3 stitches put in to stop the bleeding. When I got back from the hospital, there was a ruckus going on. What's going on? Apparently, Kenta's mother had started a fuss and screaming and pouting. Her complaint was,
How are you going to chase off an evil spirit with beans? My son did nothing wrong. I'm not going to be paying for any of your treatment. I'm more concerned with the fact that one of the adults felt it appropriate to scold my child. He has endured mental distress because of it. What are you going to do about that? Who's going to pay for that? If Ryota-kun over there didn't play the part of an Oni, then this wouldn't have happened. He's just been crying all day at home.
or something along those lines.
Why don't we not argue in public, huh?
My mother took her to the town hall to talk about this in more detail. My mother and I, along with Kenta's mother and the rest of the townsfolk who were part of the Setsubun event committee, all gathered. I didn't care much as long as the kid understood that what he did was wrong and I got the money for my treatment. I don't want to deal with her any more than I have to anyway. But then I found out something new. Apparently Kenta's mother hadn't even paid the fees that were due to take part in the event. She just told Kenta to join without permission.
You don't pay the fees and you just let him join like it's his right. That's not relevant right now. Stop changing the point. Just apologize to my kid already.
She continued to yap away like an annoying dog, so Kenta's father was also called to the hall. But of course, why would you expect his father to be any different?
My child has done nothing wrong! I'm not gonna pay a cent!
He exclaimed. This is where my mom...
Okay, so you're telling me you have no intention of paying for the medical fees.
asked a valid question. He replied,
Of course not! You're just wearing that stupid cast on your head to make it seem like a big deal! I'm sure it's nothing! You're just trying to take money from us!
Exactly, we're the victims here.
They just started saying things that made no sense at all. These two are insane. Then my mother said...
Then I'll be asking Shimizu-san for the money. Please call Shimizu-san.
She asked the leader to call Shimizu-san to the town hall. Suddenly, Kenta's father lost all color in his face. Shimizu-san is the CEO of the company that Kenta's father is employed at. He's very good friends with everyone in town, and he's been very friendly with me, too. Normally, he's a very chill old man, but he hates when people act up, and it's very scary when you get on his wrong side. He's seriously scary when he gets mad.
Please don't do that!
Kenta's father started begging for mercy.
You're not going to pay, right? Then I'll just have to take the money directly from your salary.
My mother was not having any of it. Kenta's mother seemed unsatisfied by this whole thing.
Enough!
She started screaming and pouting before kicking and throwing things around the hall.
We did nothing wrong!
Eventually, the police were called and she was detained and taken away.
Let go of me! I've done nothing wrong!
Stop resisting!
Afterwards, I was interviewed by the police and I had to spend a lot of my time explaining everything that had happened. We settled with them having to pay for my treatment and also damages. The town would be suing them for the damages that Kenta's mother caused to the hall as well. Shimizu-san would be taking that directly out of Kenta's father's pay. I mean, what did anyone think was gonna happen? I guess everything has been settled now? But then something else happened. A few days later, our entire family, including my parents, my grandpa, Kenta's father, and his grandpa, all showed up to have a discussion. Normally, my grandfather lives with us, but apparently he was out the day of the festival, so when he came back and learned of my not-so-minor injury, he was infuriated.
I'm gonna give them the same exact injury they gave you!
He was yelling and wouldn't stop, but
then we're gonna stoop to the same level as them!
My father calmed him down.
I need to at least give them a piece of my mind!
So that's how we ended up where we are now. Your heads. The first thing that surprised me when we met up to talk was Kenta and Kenta's father's heads. They were completely bald, and Kenta's grandpa said,
I know this isn't enough to make up for it, but...
He was trying his best. Then, Kenta and Kenta's father, Kenta's grandparents, all apologized.
We're so sorry!
My father said,
Why is your wife not present today?
apparently, Kenta's mother was thrown into jail a few days ago. From what he says, Kenta's mother had caused trouble before and had already had a record. She was in the middle of her probation period. I knew she was insane. This whole series of events led to her being put behind bars and convicted.
I'm so sorry for all the trouble we have caused you and your loved ones.
Kenta's mother apparently also skipped out on many other payments as well, and so Kenta, along with his father, were going to move out since there was no way that they could pay for everything she owed plus rent. I think that kid is better off not being around that lady. Then Kenta spoke to me in a quiet voice.
I'm sorry. My grandpa got mad at me and I realized what I did was wrong. I'm really sorry for throwing a rock at you.
It's alright, little dude.
I'm so sorry!
So it honestly ended up more or less as a meeting for them to apologize to us and an actual discussion. However, when we talked about my injury, Kenta's grandmother quietly said,
I'm just glad that it wasn't a woman or a child that was injured.
Unlucky for her, my grandpa heard that.
Maybe he's just a stranger to you, but he's my adorable grandchild!
My grandpa went at her like he was about to chew her head off. I kind of understood what she was saying, but I'm pretty sure that's not something you say in front of the person that was injured. I was also shocked. I was also embarrassed after hearing my grandpa talk about how I'm his adorable little grandchild. As far as financial compensation, Kenta's grandparents both would be paying me several thousands of dollars. I don't know what the market price would be, but if you consider the fact that I'm going to be left with a lifelong scar, maybe it wasn't too expensive. However, luckily there would be no lasting damage to any of my nerves or eyes. Is this injury going to leave a scar? Probably yes. I mean, give it 50 years, no one will notice with all the wrinkles. 50 years?
Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. See you next time.